Hello, students. Welcome to another session of Principles of Organizational Behavior. In this session, we will be talking about the last part of group behavior. In the previous sessions, we have understood the meaning of group, the stages of group development, types of group. So, in this session, we are going to talk about the various determinants of group behavior. Now, when we talk about determinants of group behavior, it means we are trying to understand what are the various factors that affects the group performance and satisfaction of its members. So the success or failure of a group, it depends upon many factors like external conditions, group member resources, group structure, group processes, and group tasks. So we will be talking about all these five determinants one by one. The first determinant of group behavior is the external conditions. Now, a group is a subsystem of formal organization. So it has to work within the framework provided by the organization. All elements of the organization will have their influence on a group. Such elements include organization strategy, authority structure, formal regulations, organization resources, procurement of personnel, performance appraisal and evaluation system, organizational culture, and physical work setting. Now, let us understand all these points one by one. Organization strategy. As we all know, every organization has a strategy that defines what business it is in or what it wants to be in and the kind of organization it is or wants to be. Strategy outlines the organization's goals and the means for attaining these goals. It might, for example, direct the organization towards reducing costs, improving quality, expanding market share, or shrinking the size of its overall operations. The strategy that an organization is pursuing at any given time will influence the power of various work groups. For example, an organization that is retrenching through selling off or closing down major parts of its business is going to have work groups with a shrinking resource base, increased member anxiety, and the potential for heightened intra group conflict. Coming to authority structures. Authority structures define who reports to who makes decisions, and what decisions individuals or groups are empowered to make. This structure typically determines where a given work group is placed in the organization's hierarchy, the formal leader of the group, and the formal relationships between the groups. So, while a group might be led by someone who emerges informally from within the group, the formally designated leader appointed by the management has the authority that others in the group do not have. This is how authority structures may influence the working or effectiveness of a group. Now, talking about formal regulations, organizations create rules, procedures, policies, and other forms of regulations to standardize employee behavior. The more formal regulations that the organization imposes on its employees, the more the behavior of work group members will be consistent and predictable. So, regulations that affect the behavior of the work group members. Now, talking about organizational resources, resources are important to work groups like the tools, equipments, facilities, and work methods and procedures. Just as with individuals, groups also need proper resource support if they are to achieve their true potential in task performance. Also, the relative scarcity or abundance of resources in the organization can affect what happens within and between groups. When resources are scarce, it is seen that group members are likely to compete with one another to access them. Also, resource scarcity can lead to intergroup conflict. Now, talking about procurement of personnel, members of any group are first the members of an organization to which it belongs. The method adopted by the organization to hire employees will determine the type of people who constitute the group. This is how the procurement process can affect the effectiveness or satisfaction of the group members. Now, talking about the performance appraisal and the reward system. Groups are also influenced by the performance appraisal and the reward system that is followed by the organization. Well-designed performance appraisal and reward system help establish and maintain proper levels and direction for group efforts. Groups can suffer from reward system that stress on individual performance rather than group performance or group outcomes. Coming to organizational culture. Every organization has an unwritten culture that defines standards of acceptable and unacceptable behavior for employees. Many organizations have subcultures also that are created around the work groups with an additional or modified set of standards. But they still have dominant culture that conveys to all employees those values the organization holds dearest. Members of work groups have to accept the standards implied in the organization's dominant culture if they are to remain in good standing. Thus, organization culture also has an impact on the working of a group. Coming to the last point, that is the physical work setting. Now, physical or the spatial arrangement of the work setting can also influence what goes in a group. The size and the physical layout of an employee's workspace, the arrangement of equipment, illumination levels, and the need for acoustics to minimize noise distractions create both barriers and opportunities for workgroup interaction. Now, let us understand the second determinant of group behavior, that is the group member resources. Now, when we talk about group members' resources, the group performance, it depends to a great extent on the resources that the group members brings to the group. Member resources, it comprises of the abilities of its members and the personality characteristics of the group members. So, talking about the abilities first, the group's performance can be predicted by assessing the task relevant and intellectual abilities of its individual members. The individuals who hold crucial abilities for attaining the group's tasks tend to be more involved in the group activity, generally contribute more, are likely to emerge as the group leaders, and are more satisfied if their talents are effectively utilized by the group. The intellectual ability and the task-relevant ability have both been found to be related to overall group performance. Thus, if the intellectual ability and the task-relevant ability of the group members is high or it matches with the group requirement, the group performance will be high. Now, talking about personality characteristics, numerous studies have been done to understand the relationship between personality traits and group attitude and behavior. The general conclusion is that the attributes that tend to have a positive connotation tend to be positively related to group productivity, morale, and cohesiveness. These traits include sociability, self reliance, and independence. On the other hand, there are some negatively evaluated characteristics also, like authoritarianism, dominance, and unconventionality that can have adverse effect on the group performance. So now let us talk about our third set of determinants that is linked with the group structure. Now we all know group structure, it shapes the behavior of the members and make it possible to explain and predict a large portion of individual behavior within the group as well as the performance of the group itself. The various group structure variables are leadership, roles, group size, group norms, status congruence, and group cohesiveness. Now let us talk about all these group structure variables one by one. First, talking about leadership. Role of leadership is the most important of all group structural characteristics. Now, as we know, leader is responsible for the group direction and goal accomplishment of the group and can reward or punish individual members when they do not comply with the directions, orders, or rules of the group. Because the organization supports the leader's influence, he or she has the power to make the group members comply with the directives. But in case of informal groups, leaders generally are the individuals who are respected by the other group members and who have acquired the special status. In an informal group, an individual who is not able to maintain the respect, status, and prestige of the group can be replaced by others who embody the needed characteristics. To remain an informal leader, a person must have the necessary qualifications, knowledge, and skills needed to aid and guide the group towards the goal accomplishment. Thus, the type of leadership will have an influence on the effectiveness of the group. Now, talking about role. Role refers to the part that an individual plays as a result of occupying some position in the group. In organizations, individuals may play different type of roles, like task-oriented roles, relation-oriented role, or self-oriented roles. An individual who helps the group to reach its goal is playing the task oriented role. Now, another employee who is supportive, nurturant, and who seeks to make others feel happy is said to play the relation oriented role or the socio emotional role. And there might be some other people who might do things for themselves, often at the expense of the group. So they obviously play the self oriented role. Now, the differences among the expected, perceived, and enacted roles may lead to negative effects on the group performance. Thus, there has to be a synchronization between the expected, perceived, and enacted role in the group members. Now, talking about group size. Group size is one of the key determinants of group performance. It has implications on group on problem solving, resource and communication, member satisfaction, and character of group membership. However, it is difficult to pinpoint an ideal size group, but based on research, it is found that groups with a size of 5 to 7 members are most effective. It is found that small group size results in loss of resources which might otherwise be available for organizational accomplishment. At the same time, large group size will make communication and coordination difficult. About member satisfaction, it has been proved that satisfaction increases as group size approaches 5 or decreases thereafter. Turnover and absenteeism also increases with group size. Smaller groups enable members to interact more frequently and to know one another better. This increases the member satisfaction. Now, talking about correlation between size and productivity, it seems that productivity of a group should increase with the increase in the group size. But in reality, the group's actual productivity falls as the group size continues to increase. Now, it results because of the various obstacles like production blocking, group maintenance activities, and social loafing. Now, talking about group norms. Norms are the set of beliefs, feelings, and attitudes commonly shared by group members. These are also referred to as rules or standards of behavior that apply to group members. Norms serve three functions in group: predictive function, control function, and relational functional. Norms provide a basis for understanding the behavior of others and for deciding one's own behavior. Norms regulate the behavior of the members. When someone violates a norm, other members are likely to exercise sanctions ranging from a casual remark to a physical abuse. Some norms define relationship among the roles. While many work and non-work norms exist in small groups, but the one which has the impact on group performance is the production norm. So, the group's production norm has the most important effect on the group performance. Now, talking about status congruence. So, when we talk about status, status can be defined as a social ranking within a group, and it is assigned to an individual on the basis of the position in the group or individual characteristic. Status can be a function of the title of the individual, level of pay, work schedule, seniority, or job title. In groups of individuals who have same or similar titles, a person is given status because of some personal characteristics such as age, sex, skill, or education. Now, status can have a direct influence on group performance through status congruence, which is understood as the agreement between group members on the level of status of individual members. When there is a full agreement on member status levels, that is, when there is a status congruence, the majority activity of the group is directed towards goal accomplishment. However, when there is a disagreement on status levels within the group, that is, when there is a status incongruence, some group activity is diverted from goal accomplishment and directed towards resolving this conflict. Now, coming to the last point of the group structure, that is group cohesiveness. Now, cohesiveness refers to the extent to which the members are attracted to each other and to the group. It is the extent of liking each member has towards others and how far everyone wants to remain as a member of the group. It is the degree to which members are attached to and motivated to remain part of a group. Persons in a highly cohesive group value their membership and strive to maintain positive relationship with other group members. Members also experience satisfaction from group affiliation. Now, group cohesiveness has positive consequences on group performance. It is seen that highly cohesive groups have high morale in the group members. Each member of a cohesive group likes the other member, leading to reduced conflict and better communication amongst the members. Also, cohesiveness may contribute to increased productivity as people in cohesive groups experience fewer work related anxieties, and also high cohesive groups tend to have lower absenteeism and turnover. However, there are a couple of negative aspects of group cohesiveness. One problem with group cohesiveness is known as groupthink. Groupthink occurs when a group is so cohesive that its members lose sight of its ultimate goals for fear of disrupting the group itself. So, these are the different variables that are linked with the group performance. Now, talking to the fourth aspect or the fourth determinant of group behavior, that is group processes. Now, group processes are inherent processes that are existing within each group. After a group has progressed through the different stages of development, it is assumed that certain stable patterns of relationship exist among its members. Group processes refers to the communication patterns used by the members for information exchange, group decision processes, leader behavior, power dynamics, conflict interactions. Group processes are significant as they can create output greater than the sum of their outputs if used appropriately. Now, coming to the last determinant of group behavior, that is group task. Now, when we talk about group tasks, tasks can be categorized in many ways. The task can be short term tasks, long term tasks, simple tasks or routine tasks, complex, complex tasks, production tasks, discussion tasks, or problem solving tasks. However, the most common classification relevant here is routine tasks or complex tasks. So, routine tasks are simple and standardized. However, complex tasks are novel and non-routine in nature. So it is seen that the more complex the task is, the more the group will benefit from discussion amongst the members on alternative work method. However, if the task is simple, group members do not need to discuss such alternatives. So it is seen that group performance and satisfaction it is high on complex tasks than when the tasks are simple. So for certain kind of tasks, large groups are more suitable, while for certain tasks, smaller groups are more desirable. Greater interaction among the group members is required when there is high degree of interdependence among the tasks that the group members must perform. Thus, the type of task which the group has to perform also has an important role to play in group performance. So, with this, we come to the end of this topic, determinants of group behavior. So, we have understood there are five set of determinants of group behavior.